JTrain podcast. This is JTrain, Jared Freid, coming to you live from the West Village of Manhattan. We're here every Monday with your emails, your stories, your questions. I say it every episode. Let me say it again. Thank you. Thank you for being a listener. Thank you for telling a friend. Thank you for telling a brother, a sister, a mother, a father, anyone you know about this great and wonderful podcast. And keep sending those emails. That's how it works. You send in your emails. My guest and I chew on the bone of the problem, and then we spit it back at you with some fire advice and perspective, or just really we're talking out of our ass. So JTrainPodcast at gmail.com, JTrainPodcast at gmail.com. And if you're listening right now, I'm on the road, baby. Come to a show. Bring the group chat. Assemble the group chat. Get the crew together. I got shows. We're working on new material. The special's coming. I just saw it. It's edited. It's looking good, and what goes into the special making process, I'll get into more on this podcast, but it's great. I'm really excited about it and pumped to have you guys see it. So if you're out there and you want to come to a show, you want to see me do some new material where it's a little clunky, but we're getting through it. Irvine, California. That's a good sales job, Jared. Irvine, California, Indianapolis, Spokane, Oklahoma City. Then I'm coming to Europe, Dublin, Belfast, London, Copenhagen, Amsterdam, Berlin, Oslo, Nashville, Tennessee. So I'm all over this great planet of ours. JaredFreid.com for tickets. JaredFreid.com for tickets. So that's what I've got going on. Send in your emails, jtrainpodcast at gmail.com. We always need more, the luxury lounge, we get plenty of emails. We get all because it's easy to have a problem. It's easy to just go, oh shit, this thing annoyed me. Let me tell Papa JT. We need more JTrain podcast emails, the lifestyle, the dating, the advice style emails. And we have some great ones here. So keep sending those in, jtrainpodcast at gmail.com. Very excited about today's guest. A former contestant on The Bachelorette, and then a cast member, I think that's what you call it, of Bachelor in Paradise. Andrew Spencer, thank you for coming on.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me, man.
Dude, I have to say, the reason we got in touch is there was a point you were class act. You're a lovable guy. You get that a lot?
I guess I just try to stay, very humble and stay respectful to every person that you meet. You never know who you meet. So that's kind of how I just kind of approach everybody. That's kind of how my mom.
Well, don't you think it's hard to be respectful and as well as like watchable on TV? Because you were great on Bachelor in Paradise. And when did I message you? I messaged you. It was on Bachelor in Paradise because you had there was a scenario where you were kind of getting called out, and I was like, and then I went and defended you.
Yeah, I think it was the NC Jasenia part that was kind of tough, but hey, that's what happens on the show, man. You know it's gonna come. You just got to be able to stay calm and collected.
So everyone should go follow Andrew on Instagram at Andrew Z Spencer. Go follow. I was so impressed. Like you were. I loved watching you on Bachelor in Paradise. I love watching you on The Bachelorette. What has it been like after The Bachelorette? What is life like now?
Oh man, life. I mean, after the first round, life has just been insane. You get like crazy amounts of opportunities. And then people they know you. They act like they went to high school with you. They stop you in the middle of the street. They stop you at dinner. They stop you pretty much anywhere. So like now you just kind of expect knowing that people are going to come up and say something to you, or sometimes you might even videotape from across the
right. The videotape from across the room does that annoy you, or do you get it?
I get it, but I mean, it's. You just got to always be on, and you get exhausted. That's why you see a lot of guys or a lot of people say they don't go out anymore. And I think it's due to that, because you're just like, all right, well, can't really have the good times you used to. Cut loose a little bit because, you're always being watched. You can't sneak up.
I have two questions about this. Have you ever thought you were being recognized and it wasn't someone recognizing you? Because that's the most embarrassing thing of all is when because you want to
sure
stay humble. I've had this happen because I'm a nobody.
I'm sure it's happened, but like I can't like point to a certain moment. But I think everyone. I'm at the point where I start looking at everybody like I have PTSD from the stuff, so I always expect someone is looking and knows who I am. So that is a weird. That's something that goes through my head as well. Yeah.
There is no bigger loser moment than when because you forget yourself. You know who you are. You know that you're a nobody and nobody knows me. Why should anyone know me? And but then you have, your ego creeps in and you have two sides of your brain. You have the side of your brain that goes, nobody knows me. I'm a loser. No one should know me. I was on a stupid TV show. I have a stupid podcast. No one knows anything about this. I'm a speck on this universe. And then enough people tape you, and it doesn't take a lot. It takes like 4 people to go, Andrew, I loved you on the show. And then for then one person to go, Andrew, and you're like, here we go again. They're like, your reservation, you can sit at your table now, Mr. Spencer. They don't know who the fuck you are.
Yo, that and then like they'll be coming to talk to you and you're having a chat and I'm like, all right, well, where's this going? It's like, and then you'll be like, do you want a photo? Is that, I don't know. And
that's worse.
I want a photo with you. I was like, I don't know where this is going.
It is. That is much worse. People do that to me. It's the reversal. They come up to you. They reverse it. They make you the fan of them. They make you the loser. So they'll go, Andrew, oh my God, I'm such a huge fan. You go, oh, thank you. And the conversation kind of like runs its course. So you're just looking to get them out of there. And then then you go, well, we know people want a picture. So you go, do you want a picture? And they go, with you? And you're like, oh no, this is usually what people want. I'm sorry.
Exactly. And then we look so dumb. So I'm like, that's way worse than thinking someone recognizes you.
Right, because then you've shown your ego to someone who recognized you already. Now they go to their friends and they're like, yeah, he really thinks he's something. He wanted a picture. He thought I wanted a picture with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what is it? So before we get to the emails, and I'm excited to answer these emails. Let's ask about, sometimes I let the emails happen and we figure out someone's relationship status as they answer the emails. But you went on a show to date. So that has to be acknowledged in every conversation. Are you dating anyone? What has dating been like? How is that going since being on the show? What's going on?
So since the first time I was off, I was terrible at it. Cause you can't trust anybody. You don't know who's who, and you don't want to end up on a TikTok. You can't do dating profiles unless it's obviously right. You can't screenshot whatever. So
are you really worried about that? Is that something that concerns you?
Because like I don't know. I just don't want that to be searchable. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just would rather not have my first. This guy has no game. First of all, I have 0 game, and so if someone puts that and posts that on there, I'd be kind of embarrassed. So I mean, I would like to keep my like dating life kind of private.
Of course,
they're not looking to do the same thing. So it's kind of.
It's what you're saying. It's funny that you went on a reality TV show to date, and then you say I want to keep my dating life private. It is interesting that I guess. My interpretation is that you trust the producers of The Bachelor with how you'd look as a dater as opposed to someone with a TikTok account, which is kind of where we're at. And I think we have a lot of female listeners. And I think, listen, I'm not saying that garbage isn't out there, but on TikTok, you could come across, it is very easy to take a mediocre date, make it sound horrific, and then have a million people go, yeah, fuck Andrew Spencer. Exactly. And it is interesting because I'm aware of that, and I think more and more men are becoming aware of that because men can't go. I don't think you could go on TikTok, Andrew Spencer, and be like, and she came on the date not dressed right, and everyone go, "You're an asshole. You're not allowed to say," well, but the other way around, it does work. It does work. Andrew Spencer wore a t-shirt and sweatpants on our date, and you go, well, they're joggers and they're nicer joggers. No, people go, oh, the bar's low. Men don't do anything on dates. It seems like an easier path towards following.
Yeah, no, that, and it's just been difficult, man. Like, you don't know who knows you from the show, or they actually just like you for who you are. So, like,
right.
Out of that, you run into a lot of problems with that. And so, I've been going on a lot of dates now after Paradise. So after Bachelorette stuff, now it's really easy. It's gotten better. I just kind of ignored it a little bit more, and I've went on a lot of dates, and I've been talking to someone for like a little bit right now, and we'll see how it goes.
So I'm talking to someone for a little bit right now. Sounds like
it's all like a month and a half.
But that sounds like you are zoning in on, let's see what this can be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that it ain't a relationship, but it ain't, you don't want to get ahead. It's funny because, like, guys are very cagey on how, and this goes back, why a lot of women want to crush dudes on TikTok. I get it.
Right.
Guys get cagey. Are you seeing someone? There's someone that we're kind of seeing what we're going to do. And it's like, but I understood that from you. I go, I know exactly the zone, the period of time you're in.
Yep. Yeah. And, I'm not one to hide. And I was actually crazy. I was just talking to her about this. I don't want to seem like I'm hiding her. And that's like never the goal with a girlfriend that I have, but like, I feel like nowadays, like, girlfriend's a big word. It's gotten bigger. You know what I mean?
Anyone can relate to this. Male, female, following, no following. Everyone has a following of some sort. Whether it's 200 people or 200,000, you put someone on social media as your quote unquote girlfriend, and then a month later, you that doesn't work out. You got to roll it back. You got to do some PR on your own, no matter how big your following is.
That's exactly what I'm saying, man.
So let's be sure.
That's way better way than I could have put it. But that's exactly what I was.
Andrew, you gotta bring me on your phone calls with your not girlfriend, and I'll explain these things so that she doesn't get upset. Does she have a following of some sort? Can we tease?
She has a pretty good following, Instagram and TikTok, more so TikTok, but yeah.
So are you from? Is it bad? I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to break any news on the JTrain podcast. Is it in the Bachelor universe or reality TV universe, or no? Have you gone away from that?
I'm just like I'm away from it right now. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but at this moment, like, I just need to just not, because if you see two Bachelor people together, it's like
everyone just assumes.
Yeah, everything. But like, if you have someone else, it lessens your chances of being recognized, or kind of just being, in the limelight a little bit.
So, Andrew, one last question before we get to the email. You're moving to LA. You mentioned, what's the plan in LA? What are we going to discover, find, do? And then you mentioned opportunities. I want to get into that.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest opportunity that you've turned down?
That I've turned down. See, that's the thing, man. With me, like, coming from where I come from, you don't turn down opportunities much.
Well, right. But do you ever get like an ad where they're like, "We want you" on your Instagram?
I don't remember those, but like, I will turn a lot down. I'm just like, that's just not fitting with who I want to be as a person. Yeah, there's a lot. But for the most part, opportunities, man. I got to MC the Jonas Brothers concert for the national championship game, and then also was on ESPN talking football with Rodney.
Love it.
Out roses to what team would win at the national championship game on ESPN, which is crazy, and that's what I've always loved to do. And then I just kept getting. Did the thing for the premiere for the Your Place Your Mind. So just kind of doing red carpet stuff, hosting, just being able to talk and be myself. And obviously you can't do that in Chicago, man. So you got to go out and be in the room is what I like to call it to all the boys. I'm like, I got to get in the room. And the only way you can do that is in LA and New York. That's the only place you're going to find yourself where some people are going to, put you in a spot where you can be where you want to be.
Love it. So I'm pumped for you. I want everyone to go follow Andrew at Andrew Z Spencer on Instagram. Go follow right now. Moving to LA. I love it. I go to LA every now and again. It is a fun place. It's a wild place. People are insane. Look out for that LA no. That's my I've come up with this thing called the LA no, where people will say yes to you even as they're saying no to you.
Yeah.
That is my I love an LA no. So let's go into the emails. You ready, Andrew?
Let's do it, man.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Weight and dating. Dearest Papa JT, you ask and I deliver. I saw a call to action for more JTrain questions, so here I am. My question/dilemma is relatively simple in nature. How much do guys really pay attention to a girl's weight when dating? Context: I'm 25 and in the midst of the modern dating game. I would say I'm average weight, but I'm someone who has pretty stick-thin friends. So I feel larger compared to them, but in comparison to the average population, I guess I'm somewhere right in the middle. I've put on 15 or so pounds in the last 6 months, which has me feeling kind of uncomfortable in my clothes and probably looking a little uncomfortable in them too, LOL. And of potential correlation, my dating life is pretty stagnant. I find myself going on first dates every couple of weeks, and typically they don't wind up going very far. Maybe a second date. I haven't been on a third date in like 6 months. So my self-conscious ass is telling myself that's a huge factor in my lack of success is my weight. I'm wondering how much guys really care about this. If I lose 15 pounds, will I magically find the love of my life because I look better? Or would I lose 15 pounds and find out that it was my shitty personality all along? Let a girl know. I like this email. I think it's a very relatable email.
Yeah.
Andrew Spencer, have you ever dealt with weight issues yourself? You're a very in shape guy. You're tall. How tall are you, Andrew Spencer?
I'm 6'1", maybe 6'2", on a good day. Good shoes.
Depends on which heels you're wearing.
I'm considered tall, but not compared to my friends. So I might look smaller in front of them because they're all like 6'4", 6'6". Like Greg's 6'3", man. It's so weird. He doesn't look like he's that tall.
Well, it's interesting. It's all about perspective. This person said the same thing as you. You go, I'm considered tall, but when I'm with my friends, I don't feel tall. And like a lot of this is about feeling, I'm 15 pounds heavier. Well, heavier than what? When you were 15 pounds lighter, you probably had bad days too, And
what I would say is we've gotten to this era where we want every man to think you're attractive. All you need is one. You know what I mean? So I think I get in the way of that, where I've tried to be attractive to all women. You know what I mean? And that's not realistic. Sometimes you just one person that's going to find you for you. And I think that's where we kind of get messed up a little bit.
You bring up a great point. I've said this podcast has been around for now, I think 10 years, as crazy as that sounds.
Right.
This podcast was around before Andrew was born. And
I'm not that young, man.
How young? How old are you?
I'm 28.
28. I'm turning 38. When this is out, I'll be 38 years old. And when thank you. I started this, and I would always say, like, just what you're saying. If you go, everyone is hot to someone. There's a butt for every seat. There's a shoe for every foot. But I would also say, like, and this is a more disgusting way to put it if you're a new listener, maybe you've never heard this, but I say, if you go on a porn website, the right side of the screen on a porno website is all hyperlinks to every type of woman. Exactly. And so, like, I'm not trying to make this disgusting, but, like, people don't fuck around with their money and don't fuck around with their porn. They do exactly what they want to do. So when you see foot porn, someone is out there. They had so many people searched foot that they had to make a hyperlink to get people to the feet faster. So you 15 pounds above or below or wherever you are you being the, amongst the friends of the stick thin friends, you're someone's foot. they look at the thin friends and they go, I don't want that. Get me to the thicker woman. Thick has now become somewhat of a compliment, I guess. My dad called me thick once. I don't think that was a compliment. But I'm saying this, you are someone's hyperlink. You are someone's foot. You are someone's searchable, porn. As crazy as that sounds, have you ever? What she's asking? Do guys and it's funny because it's like, do guys really care about this? No, no. Because when you put it in guys, does Andrew care about this? I don't know his taste. Does Jared? I'll say this: I like an extra 15 pounds rather than not an extra 15 pounds. So for me, that would be good. So I and what you said, Andrew, is so perfect because it's like you're not going to be for everyone, and if you're for everyone, you're not really doing anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, and here's the difference where I know a lot of my friends who love the fit route, that's the fit route, where they have to go in the gym, or they would love to see them in the gym. That's their taste. If that's not you don't need to be that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like a lot of people want to be the copycat thing where I want to be just like this person rather than just being yourself, like I said, and not try to appease every single person.
I'll tell you a story. I think this is an interesting story that's somewhat relatable, and it's not me repeating things I've said on this podcast before. But so you also want to be considered hot by the person you're on a date with,
Absolutely.
that. So and let me just say, if a guy for a lot of men, I would say this: I won't go on a first date with someone I'm not attracted to. So
yes,
Andrew, do you feel the same way?
Yes.
And I know it's different for a lot of women. A lot of women will go, I'll give him a chance. He checks a lot of boxes. I'm not attracted. That is a foreign thing to me, and it sounds like to Andrew as well.
Yeah.
The idea of what was that?
I wish I was better than that, but
but that's just how we are.
Blind. I think that's a tough show to do, man. That's a really tough show to do.
Love is Blind, you would hear how much of an asshole I am. I'd be like, so, the questions would all be very so give me some more. I would get it. But I'm saying I went on a date and the person I was sitting there and they go, you look exactly like my friend's husband. And I'm like, cool. And when someone says you look like someone, I don't want to see it. I don't need to see it. I'll just live in my mind's eye. And I tried to be like, they go, you look just like my friend's husband. I go, oh, I'm sure they're gorgeous. I made a joke about it. And to try and get us to the next subject. And they go, no. You're like the same you're like, oh my God, you're like, this is like the same person. And they get their phone out, and I'm going, in my mind, I'm going, no, please, no. And then I'm on a date. I can't freak out and be like, get it away from me. I can't shut my eyes and be like, I don't want to see. I have to look at it. They put the phone up to my face, and it is it is someone I don't want to look like. I just say that. It was just a person with thick eyebrows, and then everything else was just I would be insulting to describe them because I want to separate from them, but then I'm seeing how this person sees me, and I was like, I don't know if I can keep going on with this. And I got triggered. I will say I heard this and I go, I don't want to be on the date with someone who sees me as 600-pound dude with thick eyebrows. I'm the same. That's how you see me. I was like, let me live in the delusion that you think I'm that you're excited to be here with some hot guy. It was like an admission that she was it was almost an admission of that she was on the date being well, he's funny, so I'll go on the date, and he kind of looks like my friend's ugly husband, so I guess I'll deal with that. It was I don't need to hear that.
That's what she did.
What's that?
She put you in the personality category.
I felt like that.
A lot of women group men in different categories and how they would date them or who they are and what they're attracted to.
It goes all ways. So your insecurities aren't going away. You might be with someone that you go, wow, they make me feel really good, and you don't know how they do it. And then you go out with someone that you're like, oh, this is cool, I'm attracted to them. And then they show you the picture of who they think you look like. And you're like, okay, I can't speak to this person ever again. I can't be around someone who thinks I'm in that phylum of human.
Right. No, I hear you. I mean, comparison is the thief of joy. So I think a lot of that happens.
I mean, she stole my joy. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything life throws at you. Therapy can get you to that place. I love what BetterHelp does. It is a very easy way to put your toe into the water of therapy. And for a lot of us, we don't know where to go. You're Googling therapy, you hear about mental health and how it's important, but you don't know what to do. BetterHelp has a great site that is built to kind of hold your hand through the process, especially for beginners. BetterHelp is the therapy option that is convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. Fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Easy. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/JTrain today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JTrain. Money can't buy happiness, but not worrying about your money comes close. That's where Chime can help you smile more. They were just named the #1 most loved banking app. With payday up to 2 days early and fee-free overdrafts up to $200, they offer financial peace of mind in your wallet. All of this with no annual fees, large security deposits, or credit checks to apply. See for yourself why Chime is so loved at chime.com/JTrain. That's chime.com/JTrain. Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank, NA members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payer. Spot Me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. See chime.com/spotme. Chime was the 2021 #1 most downloaded banking app in the U.S. according to Apptopia. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. Here with Andrew Spencer at Andrew Z Spencer. Go follow. Moving to LA. I'm pumped for you, man. Moving. Okay, here's a moving question. Moving in with boyfriend. Hi, JTrain. Feather. What's that?
That's the question?
That's the title. They're moving in with their boyfriend.
Okay.
I'm moving in with my boyfriend this summer. We're both 28. What should I expect? It'll be the first time living with a partner for both of us. I've been living alone for 3 years now, and he's always had a roommate, so I'm thinking the move might be more difficult for me since I know my routine and can be a disgusting in peace. Also, any advice for keeping things spicy and not turning into roommates? Thanks. What do we think? Have you ever lived with someone, Andrew Spencer?
I always live with roommates. I'm actually moving to LA with Justin, who's on the show, the guy who makes all the faces.
And then Justin went on Paradise and he got followed home.
Yeah. Took Paradise to Baltimore.
Yes. That was great. I love that because I remember Justin left the show and you could tell Justin was there to have fun. He spread himself around on Paradise. And then when they showed up with the who was the woman that came?
Eliza.
So Eliza showed up to be like, let's be together. You could see like, I have moved on from this. It didn't seem like he was ready for such a thing.
I can't speak on that. He's...
So what do you think? So you've lived with roommates, but never with a significant other?
No, man, I haven't. I think that's the next step. I feel like I get it. Like I lived with myself. You know when with like you invite someone over to your house is pretty like not in good shape. That's when I clean. A day I clean, I was like, oh, I have someone coming over, so I clean, and now my house is really clean. And that person sees it, and when she leaves, I'm like, all right, well, now I'm back to being
right. I'll be back to my disgusting self. I think what you said in the beginning, and I think this is like the one thing I like. It's funny because I think a lot of men will be okay being like, yeah, I'm this way and I'm horrible to live with. Like I don't know, maybe that's not true. Let me rephrase this. I think you have to acknowledge that you don't know what you're going to be like living with a significant other. And I think the awareness, and if both parties are okay saying, I don't know what this will be like, then it will go well. Because now both parties are going, I'm negotiable. I'm willing to say, yeah, like even this person writing in, it'll be the first time living with a partner for both of us. I've been living alone for 3 years now. He's always had a roommate, so I'm thinking the move might be more difficult for me since I know my routine. Okay, so now that's an important thing. They are aware that they have a routine that might not work for others. So you have to, I think the hardest part about moving in is understanding, like, maybe someone's messy, but that doesn't mean they're a bad roommate. That's one thing they do that you have to figure out. You know, maybe they're messy, but they're the ones that make sure, you know, that they clean the dishes after dinner, and they're really good at, you know, making sure that that you always have toilet paper, or they, you know, they're always getting supplies. So like, you have to acknowledge that being messy alone, it does not make a bad roommate as a significant other. So no, I think it's hard for me because I lived with I lived with a girlfriend for a year, and for me it was fine. I'm sure that they go, well, he did this and this and this, and it's like, you know, I remember there was one time where it's like I would floss, and then I used to brush my teeth and floss, and it would get water on the mirror, and it's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And they were just like, just lean back when you brush your teeth. Like, I can't look at a mirror like this. And I'm like, and every time I try to lean back, and I realized that I was leaning forward when I brushed my teeth because I didn't want to like look at myself in the mirror, you know, naked. Like, it was a self-conscious thing, you know? What's that?
I'm dead. That's funny.
Well, it's true. I was like leaning in because I was like, I don't want to look at my fucking fat body that looks like the guy.
You want to be close to the sink, like
no. I was like kind of like hiding
because I'm like that. Like, I'm close in because I don't want to spill on my shirt or anything like that.
Right.
That's why. So I might get some on the mirror.
To me, I'm like, let me hide from what's going on here. It's a self-conscious thing. So it's like, you don't, and that didn't have to get unpacked until I lived with someone who's like, stop doing this. And then I stopped, and I was like, I don't like the feeling of brushing this far away. I'm looking at myself. I have to, you know, I can't suck in while I'm brushing my teeth. So I'm getting self-conscious, and I'm like, and it's like, oh, and then I'm sitting there going, fuck, Jared, you got a lot of fucking issues. Like, and then it's like, so understand that, like, your partner isn't doing things to get you. And when you try to unpack them, you might find a bunch of cockroaches of a person who can't look at themselves in the mirror. Like, you know, you have to understand, like, these are built-in traits, and no one is doing things to get you, but it's okay to like bring them up. So that's my biggest advice to someone moving in with a significant other is like, don't make what they do evil. This is who they are. And make sure everyone understands. And I think this person needs to go to their significant other and hear them speak about it. And I would hope that they would go, they need to have like I think it would help if they had an honest conversation before they move in and go, hey, I don't know what I'm like as a roommate. And then to hear their partner go, I don't know what I'm like as a roommate to a significant other too. And then go, okay, but let's agree that we will talk. If you get annoyed, tell me. Tell me. Just let me know.
Always key. You can never go wrong with communication.
Because that's the thing. Just say, at the moment of annoyed, come to me. Right. Like, you know, office hours are all day long for annoyed, annoyed livers.
How it should work, you know, but
right. But the minute you start putting things under the carpet and right, like I said, annoyed livers. I've never said annoyed. What is it? Inhabitants.
Housemate? Yeah.
Housemates. Well, if you get annoyed, bring it up right away. And I know it doesn't happen because you go, oh, this is small. Nothing is small because everything becomes big at some point. So I think that's the biggest piece of advice is like, listen, it might be small now, but then you get a month in and you go, you're putting, and you spit all over the mirror. It gets brought up in this bigger fight that has been just packed away.
Yep, exactly.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com, JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Andrew Spencer at Andrew Z Spencer. Pets and pressure to move in. Okay. Hey, Jared, feathers and feathers to you. I just saw you in Toronto and fucking loved it. You killed it here, and I'm so glad the tour is going well. Have a blast in Europe. Thank you. I saw you were looking, so although I don't have anything crazy dramatic, I figured my 28-year-old woman's situation could use advice anyways. I live in a quaint apartment alone with my 12-year-old cat. Having a cat is great because she's friendly as fuck to everyone, loves me like crazy, but is still passive sometimes, and easier to clean up after than roommates. She was our family cat, but became solely mine after my mom passed away 7 years ago, so there's some extra built-in sentimentality there.
Yeah.
Last year, I started dating a great guy. He has a steady job, a side business, creative pursuits, and an awesome friend group and family I love to hang out with. Despite his crazy schedule, he prioritizes us, and we have a great relationship, and I see a bright future with him. Eventually, I want to make the next step with my boyfriend, and I don't want to do so hastily. We had both lived with partners before, me with my college boyfriend of 3 years, and him with someone he was not married to, but with for 10 years. I think this is part of what keeps us patient before heading to the next steps. My boyfriend likes my cat, but isn't generally a cat person, so I know that would be a bit of a compromise when the time comes, and we would consider living together. The cat is old, but she's got a lot of years left in her. How do we know when it's time to make the move? I really don't think both of us wanting to keep our own space right now is the problem. Do you think there is a limit on how long a couple should live separate or hold out before moving on to the next step, even when they know it's going to be together? What do you think?
I mean, first off, that guy was living with someone for 10 years.
Right. So he understands what it is like to live with a significant other.
Yeah, so if anything, he'll know.
Right. But, that has to be taken into consideration. It's like, how do we know when it's time to make the move? Like, this guy, time doesn't seem to really, if you're with someone for 10 years, don't get married, live with someone, are you in a rush now as opposed to then? Like, these are questions I would have about him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I'm not a huge cat person, but if he's already met the cool with the cat, I think that's a non-issue at that point. I don't think he's just gonna all of a sudden not like your cat.
Well, it's interesting that she brings up the cat, but the questions don't really get, like the cat is not the problem. Yeah, how do we know when it's time to move? I really don't think both of us wanting to keep our own space right now is a problem. Do you think there's a limit on how long a couple should live separate or hold out before moving on to the next steps, even when they know it's going to be together? Like, she doesn't even bring up the cat in the question. The cat, I would say, the cat is fine. She, and what she wrote is like, he's not a cat person, but he likes my cat. That's how I am with animals too.
I am the same. Absolutely.
Right. I don't need to hug every dog I see coming down the street. But if someone has, like, the fact that it was your mom's and she passed away, like, that cat has an amazing story to it that, like, of course your boyfriend is going to love and be okay with. And, he has his own relation with the cat. It's like, I don't like your kids, but I want my own kids. It's like the same can be true. I would say to this person, what I don't think they're doing, what I think that they're asking us, do you think there's a limit? Like, I can't tell you what the limit is on how long a couple should live separate or hold out before moving on to the next steps, even when they know it's going to be together. I would say you need to be a little bit more live in the land of I as opposed to we. Because right now, like, they're talking a little too, like, I'm sure this relationship's great, but he is his own person and you are your own person.
Absolutely.
Just because go ahead.
She needs to figure out if she's ready to move in, and if she is, then she brings it up, and if he's not, then there you have your answer.
Right.
And if it is, then you guys are moving in together. So I think that's what it comes down to, is you kind of putting your step forward and you creating. It's like everyone's always trying to wait for this magical moment to we're moving. That's not going to happen. You just got to go and put your foot forward and start the process to get going, If you
the amount of couples that are exactly on the same schedule are zero. It's like, so I think the biggest mistake she's making, and like I've done this, is like if you're talking in forms of we before it's time to talk in we, I think you talk in we when you're, your parents talk in we, your grandparents go, oh, we do this, I think right now when you're living apart, you're still dating, I think it's okay to go, I think this person needs to take control of their own schedule. Okay, absolutely. When do you, and here are the things that you, moving in gets kind of like, oh, when is it? It's a moving target. I don't really, but when do you want to be married? When do you want to have children? If you want to have children, when do you want to be on the next phase of life? Write these things out for yourself. If you're like, hey, I'm ready for those things, I'm ready for things to start moving. If you're saying I'd like to be married within the next 2 years, well, moving in soon might be that pushes up the timeline. And so you have to let that person know, here's where I am. Here's where, because they, especially boyfriend who lived with someone for 10 years and didn't get married, like this guy seems like he's pretty chill. He's got what he wants. So
you gotta push the envelope on him because he knows he's been there already 10 years. So he's not. Yeah, you gotta push the envelope on him and show him that you're ready, and he's not gonna move. He's not gonna flinch unless you make him. Yeah. So
like, and what she's doing, she's saying, well, he's not a cat guy, so I want to make sure he's totally comfortable with the cat. And it's like, no. Now it's not about the cat. You're speaking in we too much. Hey, I'd like to be married the next 5 years. Have you thought about that? And then he'll go, well, no, I haven't. And then you go, now you're actually talking instead of making assumptions from him. She's making assumptions. I don't think both of us wanting to keep our own space right now is a problem. I want to keep my own space. Start talking that way as opposed to, we are okay with it. You don't know about him. You know him, you know him to 90%, but there's a 10% in his brain that he's not letting you know.
Yeah, exactly.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com, JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Andrew Spencer at Andrew Z Spencer. Go follow on Instagram. You're on TikTok too?
Same thing. Everyone, every handle.
Everything all across the board. Should I tell my best friend I think she's ruining her life? Andrew, we get serious here. I'm telling you.
I think
hold on. I'll read the email.
Okay.
Jared and guest, I'm writing in because I don't know how or whether I should talk to my friend about her life choices. Backstory. We've been friends for 15 years. She has always been a free spirit. She's really smart and resourceful and has always been exceptionally independent. She had a string of bad boyfriends, deadbeats, pathological liars, selfish guys with lots of ego, and it has left her kind of lost. She recently was let go from 2 jobs because of her performance. She self-admittedly wasn't working hard. Moved to the Caribbean after her last relationship didn't work out and immediately started dating a guy who she met who doesn't have a job. Has totally different core values from her words, and borrows money from her often. She also wants to have kids before she's 30 and talks about that often. She's 27, I'm 26. I'm genuinely concerned about her because she seems lost and has been for a few years at this point. I feel like she is self-sabotaging and running away from her problems by moving away and dating guys who aren't worthy of her. I don't want to come across as judging her because I'm really not. I just care about her and feel like she doesn't seem happy or fulfilled at all. Should I say something to her, and if so, what? Do I owe her, that to her as her best friend? What do we think? This is a tough one.
How I operate, my friends always check me. So I'm always checking my friends as well. That's the kind of relationship I would want. They feel like I'm on the path that they don't believe is who that's right for me. That's why you're there. That's why they're your friends. You know, there's things friends will tell you and know about you that your family don't even know. So if you guys have been friends for 15 years, you're okay to be like, hey, what's your plan here? What's going on here? But I also don't see, I don't see anything wrong with what the free spirited friend is doing. Like, I think she's living life, and she's 27, not completely that old yet. I think your life experience in, and I think she's experiencing all of that. Obviously working at that job might have not been for her. You never know what opportunities might come in wherever she's going, So I don't halting what she's doing as in a life. I don't think she's partying or doing anything hard. You know what I mean? I think she's still, within the balance. So I think she's fine.
Right. Yeah, drugs and alcohol weren't mentioned in this email, so we'll assume those things aren't happening.
Right.
I would say, here's what I would say. Like, in moving to the Caribbean, like if someone moved to the Caribbean after losing their job, I'd be like, man, good for you. Like, I'd be like, that's pretty fucking awesome. But if someone moved to the Caribbean, here's the thing. Because there's a lot of things they're saying about their friend that, like, don't go together.
Okay.
The friend is 27, and they're like, I've lost 2 jobs, and I'm moving to the Caribbean. And then they go, I also want to have a baby before 30. And you go, okay, those are 2 different people.
Yeah.
If you're 27 moving to the Caribbean, I'm not saying that you can't have a baby before 30. I'm just saying you might not have the baby situation that you may have dreamt of or thought of. And it's like, and I think what this person can do, and then here's another thing they did. I think it's okay to go to a friend and be like, I'm worried about you. You have said these things. Exactly. You have said you want to have a baby before 30. You said you're lending a guy money who you're dating. You're 27. Like, have you thought of these things? So, like, I can't, because what happens as the friend is it becomes exhausting to hear the same story in different tunes. Because I'm sure this friend is writing into this podcast, so I'm sure they're a little bit emotionally drained that every time a relationship ends, they gotta have the glass of wine, we're crying, and I have to take that in. And then they probably give this person the same advice every time, and then this person runs to the Caribbean and finds a new guy, and then they have to repeat the process of going through every roller coaster hill with this person. And I would be tired of that. So I think the reason this person writes into the JTrain podcast is they're like, I'm on the cycle. It keeps going around and around. I have this friend who I care about. It sounds like she keeps making the same mistakes, and then I'm the person that has to keep, cleaning her up a little bit. So what do we do to break the cycle? I think, like, the one thing that they wrote in their email that kind of, like, jumps out at me is I feel like she's self-sabotaging, running away. Dating guys... She writes, I feel like she's self-sabotaging, running away from her problems by moving away and dating guys who aren't worthy of her. There's this weird thing that we do that we, like, pump people up in a way that I don't think is helpful. Like, to say, like, these guys aren't worthy of you. It's like, well, she's in the Caribbean with no job, lending money to people with no job. Well, I don't know. Like, they don't sound so different from one another to me. Right? Yeah. And we do this thing where, like, you're a queen, you're a king. Oh my God, these people aren't worthy of you. It's like, that's not really letting them know the information they need to know.
Exactly. Telling them, that's going to help them feel good. You don't need the feel good. You can just tell them exactly what they are.
And I think that's what I think this person needs to do. If you go to your friend, you got to say, you have to stay in fact land. Yes. They don't need you've done cheerleader. It hasn't worked. They're in the Caribbean lending some dude money. Okay. So you go to Factland. Hey, and also you have to let them know that you're not going to be there all the time. You're not this faucet that can be turned on whenever they need to be replenished with, cheerleader water. So you need to say, here are the facts. You're in the Caribbean. You're complaining to me about this. I would read back to them their own complaints. You've complained to me about this. You claim to want this. How is that going to happen while you're doing this? And let them talk. And it's like, well, I have an Etsy page, and you're like, okay, and let them hear their own plan. Nothing makes me realize something I've said is stupid more than saying it. When you have to, like, when someone's like, so what did you do? And you go, well, I broke up with my boyfriend and I moved to the Caribbean and now I'm just, like, on an island. And how are you making money? Well, the Etsy page is really taking off. And and then they hear it and they go, oh, you're right. This is a stupid plan. This isn't getting me where I want to go. And you want to have a baby before when? Well, yeah, it's like 30's 10 days away. You going to have a baby in 10 days? And they go, yeah, I guess I'm not going to have a baby before 30. And then they hear themselves.
Mm-hmm. No, that's. I think that's crucial to kind of just like re-explain it in their words. If you get them to do that, like, I don't know, I can't explain it. That's that's probably what you're gonna hear. But it's yeah.
Do you know how many times I've like told someone, like, I got a new joke, and they're like, explain the joke, and then you start explaining it to them, and they go, well, what do you mean? Well, I don't understand that. And you go, no, but you get it. And what you try to do is, and then you try to do this you just try to push them into getting it. No, but like, the thing.
Further lost. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And it's like, I think getting this person, so it's not like going to them and being like, hey, I'm judging you. You're ruining your life. It's like, and it has to be when they come to you to complain. They come to you to complain. You go, okay, let's go over the facts. The facts are, you want this, you're doing this. How do you plan on getting to what you want based on what you're doing? Explain it to me. Mm-hmm. And then they explain, and then they go, and then they hear their own words, and they go, oh my God, I'm a fucking fraud. I'm lying to myself.
Yeah.
What's your love language? People get turned on in all sorts of ways. Dipsea has invented a whole new love language, sexy stories for whatever mood you're in. Dipsea is an app full of hundreds of short, sexy audio stories designed by women for women, bringing scenarios to life with immersive soundscapes and realistic characters. Dipsea has stories for straight and queer listeners, and 56% of stories are voice acted by people of color. New content is released every week, so you can always find something new to explore. They also have soothing sleep stories, wellness sessions, and sexy stories you can read. I love this for our listeners. I love that you can get into your own sexy place. You can go listen to these stories. They are, maybe you can explore new places that you never thought you would have wanted to listen to. That's great. JTrain listeners, Dipsea is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/JTrain. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/JTrain. dipseastories.com/JTrain. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Andrew Spencer at Andrew Z Spencer. Let's do another. You ready?
Let's do it, man.
Okay. Friendship advice. How can I pay her back? Dear Jared, soft as feathers, love this pod and you up. Both are integral parts of my podcast rotation. Also, your Bachelor live streams are absolutely hilarious. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, it is my greatest pleasure. It's funny because I appreciate you coming on. Sometimes you can tell people are like, I don't get it. I don't like it. And I like when people get into it because I don't think I'm being mean, but I can understand how people would think I'm yelling at the circumstance. To me, it's all fodder to be made fun of. When you watch the show, was it hard to watch?
Myself, yes. Yes. But I mean, the Bachelor world is more critical than anything I've ever been. Like, and I played football for years, so I know what it's like to get grilled in the meeting room. So like my tougher in that aspect, and also my friends, we do that. We would roast each other like from lunchroom, from some after practice. So I've always been getting roasted my own. So I think it's hilarious. And a lot of people, they can't get under my skin when it's jokes. So I mean, if they understand their jokes, I think they should be fine. Like, I think you're right on the money for a lot of stuff. I think it's funny.
You. Like, dude, the reason I started, people, I don't like when the Bachelor gets in, like when you got in a scenario where with two women who are trying to date you and then you were kind of being made into this bad guy, that makes me upset. I don't think anyone's like a bad guy, good guy. It's just what's happening. Like, it's just the scenario.
Exactly. And I think everyone wants it to be a side. It's not like you this side or that side. I'm like, why can't you just like let them play out how it's going to be? Like, no one's relationship is perfect. Like,
right.
to have every perfect relationship, every perfect saying, everything done. So I'm like, we're all human. Like,
do you notice? I noticed. Have you been watching this season?
I watched like the first 2 episodes. I haven't gotten too far after that.
Do you think that and I guess I'm asking this for Paradise as well. Do you think there's an awareness of how the audience might perceive you more now? Like, do you think there's people on, because it seems like a lot of people are using like buzzwords and therapy words a lot on the show because they're like, okay, I need to make sure when this goes out, the audience is on my side and I am good and they are evil.
Everyone does that. I mean, I didn't do that because that's just not who I am. Like,
right.
I'm not saying anything's wrong with it for other people. Like, I get it. Like, I've never been like one to take that too seriously. I just know that there's one thing I can't do on the show, and that's disrespect women. And that's one thing I will not do because that's just who I was raised to be.
Right.
Obviously, I know that that's how the show runs. You know, like we get put in such a corner on the show as men. Like, you have to literally walk on eggshells about what you say. You say one wrong thing, you're cooked. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, that's why, like, that's the only thing I think going in for myself is where I want to make sure that I maintain being respectful towards women, even if it's not in my benefit.
Of course. And it's like, even to say that, like, that should be the of course. Like, that, as you said, that's who I am anyways. But it's like, it is interesting that, like right now I saw that Clayton is, like, hanging with Rachel and Gabby, and, like, they're all hanging out again. And it's like, that guy was made to be this evil monster guy for a lot of people. And it's like, now they're okay. And now, you know, like, they had to go through, like, people saying some, like, pretty charged things about people kind of dating in the way people date. Like, the idea that, you know, you've been intimate with one person, then you went on a date with another person and you were intimate with them. Like, that happens in the messy world of dating. But when it's on TV, you know, people want heads on sticks. They want to make sure someone's taken down. It's hard.
No, it's so hard, man. Like, you don't even know the half of it. We can get into that like it's crazy. It's so crazy how deep it goes. And even like the whole, like you said, that they're hanging out, man, that even goes even deeper because not everything you see on social media is true. Like, we can be in the same room and we do one thing together and everyone thinks we're good together. But like, nah, it's,
right.
And it's all like a,
well, we have to. I live, you know, I was an economics major in college,
right,
and that doesn't mean much. But I know the word incentives is something. Incentives exist everywhere, and when you live in when you're involved, as you are, as a lot of these people that go on the show, in a social media follower economy where followers are currency. You know, you're making deals with people. So you go, hey, let's make this video of us looking cool, and it's going to pop off. It's going to be on People Magazine. It's going to get traction. It's going to get views. There's ulterior motives there that are not trustworthy motives.
Yeah, or we all end up in, like, we end up in the same spot. Like, if there's one Bachelor person, you're gonna, like, at an event. And I think a lot of those things are people meeting up at events that they're not going to know they're going to run into. And then when they do, you can't be awkward. You got to be cordial. You know what I mean? You're not going to be like, remember what you said about me, this, and this. You know what I mean? Like, I could never go in and do that to somebody. You know, I'm just like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Good to see you. Oh, you want to do a video? Oh, that's cool. And then you move on. Like, that's kind of
and us as the audience gets like a 5-second view, and we're like, oh my God, look at, they're together, they're cool, they like each other, and you're like, I made a deal.
Exactly, man. You're just like, all right, well, we're just gonna, all right, I'll see you. Probably
right. And but in your mind too, there's a little bit of like, there's got to be a little bit of like, oh, I'll make this video with you, it'll be good for me too. You know, like, you know, I'll put aside how much I think they're fine, but I'll put it aside because it's like, okay, it'll be a video that gets me a couple of hits and I'll move on from it. It won't mean anything.
It all depends on like the person though, for me. Like, there's someone I really won't like. I don't like. I guarantee you, I will not be in that video. But like,
So we'll know any
order is you just not enough followers, whatever the case, you can make me do that to some people. It's just, that's
not
how
enough followers in the world.
Nah, it doesn't even. You'll understand it, man. It's a weird world that I live in, especially Bachelor Nation, man. It's honestly, you think TV's good? The off the TV stuff is unreal.
It's got so there's like behind the scenes stuff as far as like the relationships and the
from the contestants off the show now,
right?
Like everyone's in the same bubble, so you hear everything from everybody. So I know everything about everybody pretty much, and the things that you and is that's good TV.
But it's the stuff that'll never get on TV. Like you can't tell me like who's. Like, would I be surprised to find out who the real rabble rousers are, the people who really cause trouble are?
Oh my God, yes, you would be so surprised. You'd be so surprised. It's because everyone has to put on that TV thing, and the reason that they get good content off the TV is when we're tired. So we'll be exhausted, and then we're but we have to be ready to do things, and you can't do anything when you're tired. I'm telling you, you're gonna say something. So that's where you get a lot of the drama, but. Outside TV, people create their own drama. It's just normal. Like it's beef on sight some of the times out here. So.
Wow. All right, let's do one more. Let's do one more email. You ready?
All right, sounds good.
This is a great. I 38 female have a question concerning my best friend 31 female who's studying to be a therapist. This is a great fit for her because she gives wonderful advice and many people, including me, turn to her to talk things through. Now she is turning this into a career. I struggle to find the line between a conversation with my friend and a therapy session. It's important to me to find that line because I would want to pay her for a therapy session. It's a job, so it deserves payment. Until she has her degree, she can't officially bill me. Should I still offer to pay? Should I get her a present instead? Is my sincere thanks enough for the time being? All the love from Germany, see you in Berlin. What do you think? So their friend is becoming a therapist. They kind of lean on this friend for therapy-like conversations, but it is their friend. What should they do? I don't think getting bill. I don't think if you're talking, you can't bill a friend. I mean, I've gotten in this situation where someone's like, I want to they're like, I'm starting this thing and I want you to talk about on the, and I want to. I've had friends say they want to advertise on the podcast, and I'm always like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to bill a friend. I'm happy to hey, let me talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Right? Like, have you had friends approach you to be like, hey, can I give you money to talk about this on Instagram?
Yeah, I can't do it.
You can't do it.
Where you cut it off. And it's almost like your friend's a doctor and calling your friend like, hey, kid, I'm feeling this, and this. You think you're going to bill you for that?
No, right. And I think... and also you wouldn't go to a friend as a therapist because I don't think that would be a good therapist. Like you have to go, you need to go to someone who.
Yeah, that's a biased opinion. You know what I mean? I feel like that's not. You're not allowed to do that.
If I were you, if I was this person, I'd be like, if you sit with them for drinks and you're talking their ear off and you're taking over, if it's 80% of the drinks are you being like, and my boyfriend won't do that, won't talk to me, you pick up the tab. I got drinks. You gave me your ear. I got the tab. That's friend stuff. When the minute you get into billing, that's I don't think you're. I think you're. I don't know if this is the right word, but demeaning the friendship. No, this person wants to be a friend to you too. They're a human being who wants to be there with you.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Andrew Spencer, this was fantastic. Thank you, man.
Man, appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Everyone go follow Andrew at Andrew Z. Spencer on Instagram, on TikTok, all the stuff. I'm Jared Freid. Keep sending your emails. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. We'll be back next episode. Boom.